All right,
There you
there we
go.
go. There we go. Look at that.
Live and in some different color.
Well, we're in the color. We're in our natural state, which these days there's something to be said for that.
I don't know. I don't know
So
that my natural state is the best state.
hey, it is what it is, right? I mean, you're in the state that you're in,
I'm in the
whether
golden
it's
state. You're in
evergreen state.
the evergreen state.
But as I said in our little thing this morning, we cover the coast, and that's what we're doing. He's Michael Knight, and he's in Pasadena, California, and
He's New York Vinnie. He's in Seattle, Washington, where place is close enough that we could call it Seattle, within the neighborhood
yeah,
of the
we're all
Seattle Edmonds, the Great Northwest, which is at the mercy of an atmospheric river that is coming to town, bringing moisture and consternation to the. There's got to be low spots that always get water, right? Those spots will have it, and apparently Carnation, Washington, once the capital of the state. Oh, I can't hear you, man.
it was.
There you go. What's that?
What town did you just say?
I said Carnation was once like Monterey was once the capital of California. Carnation, I believe, was once the capital of Washington.
Oh, I don't know that that's true.
But is it false?
I don't know.
There you go.
People say that
Many,
Carnation was.
many people say. Many people are saying.
People tell me all the time that Carnation. I don't. I don't know that Carnation was the capital of anything, except cows, which I believe are still out there in Carnation. I mean, it's grown up a little bit, but I have friends that live out in Carnation, which I'm saying prayers for. But prayers will only get you so far. You got to get out of the water. So the best thing to do is get to higher ground, because that is it. The Snoqualmie and the Tolt rivers are expected to go above their banks.
Crest. They will crest and they will overflow.
They will crest. They will Johnny Maestro. They will step by step, and they will turn into the Brooklyn Bridge.
Is it raining now?
It is raining right now. Yes, it's been raining. I believe. I awakened at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I heard the rhythm of the falling rain on my windowsill.
Did you listen to the rhythm of the falling rain?
I did. I love the rhythm of the falling rain, so I turned off what I was listening to fall asleep, which was still going, and I just listened to the rain and it put me right back to sleep. So that was a good thing.
This has nothing to do with the state of Washington, but I have a new cap that my sister Diana brought to me from Roma, and it says Rome, and it says Italian. Where is it?
On the other side. The other side.
There
yeah, there, right there.
And
what language does it say it in?
Italian.
Oh, okay.
It says Italia. I got the flag here somewhere.
All right. I think that's. Turn your head the other way. Well, look, now you're getting. You got competition for screen time.
Kitty, that's Big Tomas.
Yeah, well, Tomas is looking to take over the show. It looks like
he has done that, and he and his brother are famous for taking over the show. If you're on the couch, he'll take over the show. If you're in your chair like I am now, he'll take over the show. If you're in bed, you think you have the right to the spot you're sleeping in, he will move in next to you, or we call him the between cat because he takes the spot between Kristen and myself in the old bed, and then he stretches out and begins to take more territory. with each
And
move.
that's
And if you roll over thinking that you can roll back later, he will fill the gap.
yeah, they have an amazing way of spreading and taking up much more area than
Then you think
their
they
volume
could.
consists of.
Just a little cat. How could he take up that much room?
They expand. They have cells inside of them that just expand as they get space.
Well, since this cat was a kitten, he has done nothing but expand, and he's at 27 pounds now.
That's some expansion. That's some wide expansion.
That's more mysterious than the frontage roads of Spolpakia.
Of which they're struggling with. They have the atmospheric river over there, and they don't have the drainage systems that we have here. They tend to dig like a little ditch on the side of the road, and they put the water in there and hope that somebody will come along and take it. And they're finding out that is not the best system.
What comes to Spolpakia stays in Spolpakia. Nothing drains away.
Well, and that's why the cost of water in Slovakia is so low. It is strange to think that you have to pay for water, whether it come out of your tap or out of a bottle or any. It's one of the main portions of life. Can't live if you don't have it. So what happens if you don't have the money to buy it?
You die.
I mean, it's one of the things that inquiring minds want to know. I mean, here you are. It's Monday morning. We're sitting all fat and happy here on the West Coast where there's plenty of water. But, Slovakia, they have to put that way. When that water comes down out of the sky, they got to keep it. And then they got to make sure that it doesn't get diseased or, somehow get some kind of bacteria floating around in it so that when they drink it, they don't grow a third arm or a third leg.
They remain happy Spolpakians.
Well, that's when Jerry Brown was putting stuff in the water in California. That's how everybody stayed happy. You notice since Jerry Brown wasn't the governor of California anymore, the whole place has gone to hell in a handbasket.
I knew we were on our way somewhere. I didn't know it was hell in a handbasket.
It's hell in a handbasket. Like my grandmother on my mother's side Grandma May used to always say that the world is going to hell in a handbasket. And I kind of wish, let's see, this would probably be her like 145th anniversary or so. I wish she would have been around to see how far to hell this handbasket is going.
Handbaskets are flammable. When it gets hot on the way to hell, they can go up in flames.
Well, yeah, I think so. And I think that's maybe the idea behind it all, really, when you think about it, is that you're going in a handbasket on the way to hell. You're going, but the handbasket will burn up way before you get there, although you're flammable too.
As you're about to find out, if the handbasket goes up, you can't be far behind.
Exactly. There's not much of and scientists have said this, that there's not much differentiation between the temperature that the handbasket will go up and the temperature that you will go up. There's not a lot of difference.
The handbasket will go first, but you're close behind.
Yeah. When you see the handbasket go,
it's a bad
do
sign.
all you can do not to continue on the journey, because it's not going to be pretty, and it's not like it all happens like that. You don't immolate in one fell poof. You go slowly and slowly. Poof, no. Sizzle, yes. So think about that.
Sell the sizzle.
Well, you're not going to be selling anything if you're going to hell in a handbasket. There's nothing left to sell at that point.
Or buy.
As many a radio salesman has found out. because I believe many of them have already gone, and they've tried to sell the handbasket on the way. And many people have said, "I'm sorry, but I'm full of handbaskets."
We're fully stocked. We'd have no need for replacement handbaskets.
Yes, WNBX was just in here 20 minutes ago, and they sold me, you know, 120 handbaskets a week, 6 a to midnight, and they'll throw all the ones after midnight in for free. So that's their their ROS schedule.
And make goods are, well, we'll just make them good without wrestling for you.
Well, people say that those make goods are always put in great places in you know
5 a.m. Sunday, right before the
before
PSA.
Reverend Ike. Just before Reverend Ike, I remember. You know, it's funny because I don't know if you remember this, but my first commercial radio job was my first shift. My first commercial radio shift was 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Sunday morning on the city. And I remember the you know, after I did it for about probably did it for about a year, 9 months, something like that. Tom and Kate called me into their office and they pulled out this. They had this thing, and I hadn't seen it yet because we got the thing too, and it was a bunch of papers that had been printed out with all the hour-to-hour breakouts, you know, the day part breakouts. How, you know, I'm sure you got the same meeting. You know, yours probably came first before mine, because obviously you were much more of an integral part of the station than I was, except that I brought in money, so maybe I was at least at some close level. And they said, "Look, you're number one." And the rating, the ranker, as they called it, showed that KKCY was in fact number one from
Sunday mornings.
Sunday mornings from 6A to 10A. There it was, number one after just less than a year doing this. Now I always thought that the other stations just weren't on Sunday morning, that they had all decided just to turn it off and go home and get some sleep.
They don't put a lot of research into filling that gap.
No, I think the only station I had ever heard at that time of the morning, KGO had some religious thing on. KCBS, I think, was the only station that was maybe live at the same time.
Yeah, with news.
Everybody else was was playing tapes of something. You know, the Schmidlap Slammy show from Detroit, Michigan, with all the Detroit rock and roll you can handle, or something like that. You know, the King Biscuit Flour Hour, or
the Mormon.
Well, yeah, the Mormon
Tabernacle Choir.
I think KABL had the Mormon Tabernacle Choir show, which they bought on every radio station. It was not a Bonneville station at the time. And I
There's the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, but there's the Norman Tabernacle Choir. It's different.
Well, we had that on KKC. Well, we had the Norman Davis show, which was the equivalent of the Norman Tabernacle Choir.
Correct.
And I wonder if he ever did a theme show with like choir music and called it the day. That would have been a great show idea for him. You know, Norman used to do these. Norman Davis, who was one of the great legendary jocks of all time, especially on the progressive side, where he put together such incredible theme shows and just these shows that would not only entertain you but educate you about music. He was truly, like, listening to Norman and especially working with Norman was like going to school. If you wanted to learn about rock and roll, if you weren't just there to smoke some dope and listen to the sound, Norman had it. Norman knew, and this was in the days before computers and this and that and the other thing. Norman just had it, and he had this sense of doing these sets and taking these shows and making them flow with a common theme.
And he was a jock on KOBY, Kobe, the first AM rock and roll station in San Francisco, which was at 1550. Then he went to KYA AM as Lucky Logan. Then to K San. Then to the city. There's probably another 2 stations in there somewhere that I've forgotten.
I don't know if he was on, what was the thing that was at the, there was we were just talking about the station. It had several different formats, even in the time I lived in San Francisco, but it was the station that Scott Beach did warnings on. So it was KMPX, maybe? 99?
I don't know if Norman was on.
Yeah, I tend to remember.
KMPX was 107.
No, this was down at 99. It wasn't KSFX. It was, I forget, but there were an assortment of live people on the station, and I think that Dick Bright might have been there at one point playing music. But it was just real. But I do remember Scott Beach doing mornings for a long time, and they played. Wow, it was kind of an interesting. I think it was kind of more jazzy, but not exactly jazz. It wasn't like K-Jazz where they had, it was straight out jazz.
Right.
You were going to hear jazz, not the funky KKSF jazz, the new stuff that they were calling jazz.
Classic jazz.
This was like, Stan Kenton and Woody Herman and just go down that list of great
big band stuff.
Jack Jive Schaefer, those people, with a decidedly San Franciscan tilt to it, because San Francisco was a hotbed of jazz, especially in the Fillmore and Oakland were some of the great places where people got together and played. Berkeley. So there was a whole, but yeah, the K-Jazz place was unreal. I mean, their record collection was, I got to wander through their record collection once.
Extensive.
I don't know whatever happened to it, but man, it was thousands of records. Some probably never even taken out of the sleeves. It looks like they never gave away a record in the entire time that they were getting records from record companies.
No giveaways.
They were all in this room. And a guy named Bob Parlocha had the key. He was the music director. And if Bob let you into that room, you had achieved a certain status in his mind.
Your job was to put together a good show.
Yeah. And he knew, and that guy, to his credit, knew where every record in that room was. I mean, they used to do on Valentine's Day, K-Jazz used to do a full day of playing nothing but My Funny Valentine. And Bob had
10,000 versions.
And he probably had 10,000 versions in that room of My Funny Valentine from As a matter of fact, I remember he once told me that he had 100-something versions by people named Valentine of the song "My Funny Valentine."
Wow.
Off-label record, just all kinds of insane stuff. I doubt he's still alive, but if he is, that was a guy, man. That was a guy. How did we get on Norman Davis? Oh yeah, we were
the Norman Tabernacle Choir.
Yes, the Norman Tabernacle Choir. Yes, kind of crazy. How did the recital go this weekend?
Excellent. This big show, they had two different casts. So she had a small part on Saturday, and then her major role was performed on Sunday in a matinee. And Kennedy Quinn did a fabulous job. She knocked him out, put on a professional show that we were all proud of, that she should be proud of. She worked hard, did well.
Good.
Audience loved her. We have video of all the highlights. My sister brought the hat so she could see the show.
Good.
The family had gathered in LA. Let's see, the grandmother came out from Rhode Island, Susan, to see her granddaughter perform.
Wow.
And to join the family for Christmas. And the Hollywood contingent came in. We were there. It was really heart-stopping. I was nervous for the whole thing, as if I was going to perform. Stage nerves, pre-show nerves. And
what did she sing?
She sang "How Lucky You Are" from Seussical, the musical about the works of Dr. Seuss and Horton the elephant, who takes care of a gathering of tiny little humans that live on a ball of dust, and only he can hear them. And Dr. Seuss makes the most out of that story, as ridiculous as it sounds. And our granddaughter played the Amazing Maisie, and she had a song about herself called The Amazing Maisie, and a song called How Lucky You Are. You don't know how lucky you are. It's a good theme. And she did it with style and with sass, and reminded me a little of Judy Holliday, the actress who fashioned I can't stand him. It was one of her great lines, not from the show, but from her movies. She was one of the stars of Guys and Dolls and sang the song about the lament. A person can develop a cold, that type of delivery. And it came sort of naturally to Kennedy, who is 10 years old just, and really knocked it out of the park. Good singer, strong voice.
Good. Well, I'm very happy that went well. I hope that she develops a passion for it. And
oh God, you have no idea.
Yeah. Well, no, I do, because I had the passion for it at that age, so I know exactly what the, I was in the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, good.
At the first year I was in it, I played a Munchkin. Hard to believe, but I had a black hat and
Munchkin ears,
antler. What do you call it? The antenna coming out. I don't know how they got to that for a costume for it, but that's what I wore. And and then 3 or 4 subsequent years, that we had school plays and things, I was always in something. Never the lead, always a character. Uh, character. Um, but it gave me. You know, School was a terrible time for me. Grammar school, especially, was a horrible time for me, and it gave me a way to escape
Of course.
a lot of the things that I went through as a young kid. Some of the really horrific things that the meanness um, that I not only got from from students, other students, but that I got from teachers, nuns. You know, and to get into that was, it was a place where you could go and escape. There was there weren't many places you could escape as a kid in the '60s.
No.
You didn't have what you have today. You have you didn't your voice was never heard. You were told to shut up anytime you said something about what was affecting you, for the most part. So, it was always shut up, and in my family it was, if you don't like it, hit them with a shovel, or hit them with your fist, or knock them down. If you hit them, they won't bother you. And you couldn't do that to the teachers. So you had to develop other ways. And the ways I developed was to be the class clown, and have a comedic, and you develop a passion for it. You really do.
Nobody used to poke the nuns. Nobody sat them down.
Let's just say that there were a couple of incidences of kids losing control and popping a nun. Yeah, and that's when they went to public school. It was time to go to public school. I got through 4 years of that, before I hit my breaking point. But it's so far, it's 65 years, 60 years in the past. So,
But
what
it
are you
just
gonna
shows
do?
you it was a different world then.
Yeah, kids today don't realize what a different world it was when it comes to the voice that they have, and the protections that kids have today, and the way that kids are valued today, in a way that some people say goes overboard, I guess. There's always somebody who'll write a column about how kids get too much these days, but I don't know. I think cell phones are much more the cause of problems that we have with kids than them getting too much, or that corporal punishment is something that should be reinstituted in school because kids were much well behaved. Well, no, the only thing they did is they kept it inside, and eventually, I don't know,
Put the nun on her
we let it
keister.
out somewhere.
Yeah.
Many got to go to Vietnam and let it out.
Let it all hang out.
Let it all hang out. And then others that didn't go to Vietnam got some pretty hefty drug habits. Because again, if you couldn't escape to a passion of theater or music or something like that, drugs was always there.
Grim choices.
Did you watch football at all this weekend?
Saw Ohio State and Indiana. That was a good game.
Yeah, I didn't watch any college this week, and I just, as we were talking about last week, I've just lost it for the college game.
Well, today's the day they're making the decisions for the playoffs, so it's going to be a factor again as Miami's in and Notre Dame is out.
Well, yeah, and Notre Dame, of course, sent that beautifully worded letter that they posted on the internet saying that we screw you. We're not going to play your game. We're just going to go and wait until we get our way because we're Notre Dame.
Well, you're going to have to win some more games to make that possible.
Well, and at one time you would say, well, the kids got screwed.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But there were so many good teams this year. It was difficult to get them in the right order.
They got jobbed out of a bowl game, but these days, the kids are just as mercenary as the coaches are. So I don't know that I have a lot of compassion.
The head coach at Washington State, the Coug coach, left.
Took off,
for Iowa State. And it looks like Rick Neuheisel is on the short list for.
I saw that. I don't know. I mean, the unfortunate thing about Washington State is right now it's a one and done school. Let's say they hire Rick Neuheisel, so he goes out there and he wins 10 games.
But he's got to put together a team first.
Yeah, he puts together a team and he gets 10 games. He wins 10 games. He puts together a team. It's not hard to do these days.
Well, ask Kansas City about that. Not a college team, but still.
Well, but yeah,
an example of how a team changes every year.
Apples to oranges. It's
hard to put together a team that will last 2 years.
Right. But he doesn't have to put together a team that lasts 2 years. He's only got to win 10 games. And if he wins 10 games, you know what's going to happen. That, some school that has much more money than Washington State is gonna hire him. So and they'll be looking, they better have somebody else. The only shot that I think the Cougars have in returning to some semblance of what it's supposed to be in college football, and I don't even know if that's possible, is to find somebody who went to school there, has a love of not just college football, but the school, the whole Pullman experience, and wants to see that thrive. And wants to try to bring that back. And there's one name that comes to the top of my mind right away, and that's Ryan Leaf. I don't know how good of a coach he would be, but he loves the school. And I think that you have to come up with somebody like that for that school to survive, for them to not get into a situation where they're going to there's another guy who has some coaching experience. I don't know what he's doing these days. Sean Deeds. You might remember him as one of Mike Price's assistants. Another guy, and I don't know what he's doing these days because I don't follow him as well, is Mike Levenseller. These are people that went to the school. They have a connection to the school. And they've either lived in Pullman or have a connection to the community. And those are the people that the kind of person I think you have to look for Washington State. Otherwise, you're just going to get one and done. I think Rick Neuheisel would just be, you're just giving him an opportunity to better his name So he gets a job. It's all about Rick Neuheisel. It's not about the school. So I don't know. And I don't know. There's just something skeevy about Rick Neuheisel.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it's just now his brother is it his brother or his son is coaching?
His son at UCLA, offensive
At
coordinator.
UCLA, yeah. I heard his name mentioned, not in that particular vacancy, but as a potential, which makes me feel really old, Michael. That Neuheisel's son is coaching somewhere, but no, I would stay away. You know, it's just me. I would stay away. The Seahawks had a wonderful time down in Atlanta. I'm convinced that the Seahawks are now playing with a type of play called take the first half off. Don't do anything in the first half. Don't cross the goal line. Just kick a field goal, match the other team's points, and come out in the second half and just rip the living crap out of the other team. And you'll be up by 60 points in the fourth quarter.
And you're resting that first half where other teams make the mistake of playing the full game, and it's exhausting.
Yeah. So, you come out in the second half and you're like ready for Freddie. You're ready to go. So I don't know if that's it seems to be the strategy. It seems to be what they've done. I think now the last, is it 3 games? Certainly the last 2.
Yes, you're right.
So who knows? Who knows what Michael McDonald Mike McDonald has up his sleeve. But the defense is defending, the offense is offending, and the special teams is very special. And I don't know that you can get better than that. I mean, this looks like a team that's going to go to the Super Bowl.
You could.
The NFC is an interesting conglomeration of teams, but
yeah,
I mean the 49ers are hurt. They're injured all over the place, and yet they're in the conversation.
And the Kansas City Chiefs have fallen low, how the mighty have fallen.
Well, every team does, don't they?
What we discussed earlier about the teams change every year is a factor that you lose a handful of players to free agency, retirement, injury, whatever the case may be. And that's enough to turn the tide. That's enough to make it impossible to win. And Kansas City has so much talent. It's another example of my oft referred to axiom. It takes a great deal of talent in the NFL to be a bad team. You have to amass an extraordinary level of talent to stink.
Yeah. You can't stink with bad talent.
No.
Except the Jets. The Jets have disproven your theory.
They just won't put together a good team no matter what.
They try as they might. They can't get a good team together. When they get good players, they can't hold on to them because the place is such a freaking zoo. And I mean, it must be. It's like stop, get your check, and get out of there. I don't know what is going to happen with the Jets, because as long as the owners come out and walk on the field on a Sunday and look up in the stands and the place is full, do you really care if you're, I mean, if you're
My
not,
job here is done.
yeah, I filled the seats. I don't care if I win. I have these fiefdoms that are running the team, and if these players don't like this coach, we get rid of them. If this group of players don't like this coach, we get rid of him. If this guy doesn't like the head coach, they listened to Aaron Rodgers 2 years ago, and where did that get him? He left. And they got rid of probably a bunch of coaches that were, could have, once they got that cancer out of there, maybe had a shot at being a good team. But, I love the Jets in name only. The Jets represent a wonderful time in life when, things like Broadway Joe.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Had influenced a group of young boys, and became my dad used to drive by the Playboy Club on the way home from New Jersey,
like you do.
Just to this is what the high life is like, son. And the limos and the people standing in front of the Playboy Club, and my mother screaming, don't look," as if it were a horrible traffic accident because the bunnies were outside, But that's what the Jets were. They, they were for a couple of years the toast of New York. And now
well earned too. I mean, it wasn't an exaggeration. They ran the town.
No, until Namath's knees started to go out on him, and they decided that they would send him out to the Rams.
I wonder if Joe would have played longer had he had modern orthopedic care.
Oh, without a doubt,
instead of whatever they did to him in college.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'm sure that a couple of country doctors there from Alabama, got into his knees and just did some horrible things in there.
Yeah, had to.
Had no idea what the hell they were doing. Now I might be totally wrong. It might be Dr. James Parks who operated on him. I don't know, but I doubt it. And by the time he was had gotten to New York, his knees were done already.
True. By the time he became a pro, he was done.
Yeah, and as soon as the age started to advance and the wear on his knees hit a certain point, and he didn't have the elasticity in his knees and the ability to bounce back, he was done. Now, now they probably would have taken a tendon from a pig and and grafted it in there, or did some kind of something. I mean, even if he had played, in the 70s, later in the 70s, they were starting to. I mean, what year did they start with Tommy John surgery? Now, I'm not saying that would have done anything. That type of surgery would have done anything for his knees, but that was the direction that the orthopedic world was going in.
I think he needed knee replacement.
Yeah.
But he never got the right treatment.
No, he never got. And again, I don't know this. I'm just, I'm just speculating. But yeah, if he would have gotten the right treatment, he probably would have lasted several more years. Probably not gone to L.A. But gone to stayed in New York. Maybe led the Jets to another Super Bowl. And I don't know if you could be as more iconic than he was. Probably you could get people to think. I don't think it was true, but probably you get people to say that he got out of New York at the right time, and maybe for his condition and what he was going through, he did, because he really wasn't. I mean, he went from becoming a guy who could still move around the field into becoming a stationary thrower and using his brain and his arm to accomplish what many couldn't with a brain and an arm and two legs.
Well, what we saw yesterday with Patrick Mahomes losing to the Houston Texans is that they sent 5 to 7 guys at him all day. There was no place for Mahomes to go except down. And the Texas defense showed the league an aspect of their attack that was so simple. Instead of sending 4 guys, they sent 5. Instead of sending 5, they sent 6. They sent 7 more than once. They sent 7 often. That type of attack puts the quarterback in a position where he has to decide in 1 second where he's going with the ball.
Yeah.
Snap, pass. And Kansas City couldn't play that game for very long. 3 interceptions and a sore knee for Mahomes. That's a game that Joe Namath could never have played because of the lack of mobility.
Right.
He couldn't roll out. He couldn't run his own offense. He couldn't call his own number and get a first down by running 5 yards, 10 yards, breaking free, running 15 yards. It just wasn't possible. It's a pity.
Well, the Seahawks yesterday, their defense is just is off the charts. I mean, they are just in your face. They just don't give you a lot. If you're a quarterback facing that team, they do not give you a lot of options. Hardly any options. They're all over the place. If you throw the ball, there's somebody there to intercept it. Or at least bat it out of the way. If they can't get to the ball to get both their hands up there to intercept the ball, they're certainly there. They're not the Legion of Boom. They're not a defense like that. They are a much more finessed, much more mobile defense. It's almost like they do a lot of things on the other end of the ball. You know, as the quarterback has thrown the ball, they seem to have a knack of figuring out routes and figuring out where wide receivers are going to go, figuring out where running backs are going to go, and not letting them either gain yards or complete passes. And if you're not at the top of your game against the Seahawks, they're going to beat you up. And that's what they did. But it all happens. You can't say enough for I mean, they did an interception on like the second play of the second half, and it took the wind out of the sails. They had gone from a team who went into the locker room, and the television announcers were saying, "Well, the Seahawks don't look like they have it this week." To in 2 plays. Coming back out of the after they came back out of the locker room, looks like, they're going to maul these guys. So it was fun to watch. Go get your beer and your hot dogs and your popcorn in the first half. Go do what you got to do. Get out of the house. Go Christmas shopping. Go to Home Depot. Go to Walmart. Get what you're going to get. And then get in front of your TV for the second half.
An exciting defensive team is always great to watch.
And and they're also an exciting offensive team. Sam Darnold had been getting. They must have worked on this week because he'd been throwing balls that were getting tipped.
Which is kind of weird because he's a big quarterback.
Right. People were getting their hands in his line of passing.
Yeah.
And they figured that out this week. I think he might have had one tipped ball early in the first half. But that was it. And he you know,
he found those passing lanes.
He found those passing lanes. He's got Jackson Smith Najigba, who is, a coming superstar in this league.
Yes. Yes.
And so he's just got a lot of weapons, man. He's got a lot of guys that he's got a lot of options. He's got a lot of weapons. If he has to tuck it and run, he's got that. He's don't forget he's coming off a week where he threw 4 interceptions.
Yeah, he had a bad game.
He had a bad game
against the Niners.
They straightened it out, and they figured it out. And this team has. I said before that they have Super Bowl written all over them. Well, there's a lot of things that would have to go right. Really, injuries more than anything else would have to not befall them.
There's a lot of teams that have suffered in terms of injuries, watching their chances for postseason play disintegrate. 49ers, Kansas City, a lot of people going down hard. And a good example is the Kansas City Chiefs with no offensive line. They've lost 4 starters from their offensive line. And there's just no way you can protect your quarterback and play football at the highest levels when you're suffering that many injuries. There's just no way.
Well, that's kind of what happened to the Seahawks last year. Is they got killed with injuries in their offensive line, and listen, I didn't think that Geno Smith was going to get him to the promised land, and I think he's proved that in Vegas.
He got hurt yesterday.
Yeah. And but the Seahawks have come up with they came up with Sam Darnold. I think Darnold yesterday became the first quarterback in NFL history to win, what is it now? 10 games in 2 consecutive seasons with 2 different teams. So, because last year he was with the Vikings and they won. I forget how many games they won, but they were in the playoffs and won, and he did a great job. And John Schneider, the general manager of the team, was smart enough to go. I don't know. I don't know why the Vikings didn't try to hang on to it. By the way, I just came across the wire. Alina Habba is looking for a job. She has stepped down as the U.S. attorney in New Jersey after a federal court ruled that she was serving unlawfully.
Maybe she can do country morning, do a country shift, like in Kansas City, at a station called The Wolf. That's what I recommend.
There's a so do me a favor, say that again.
She can become a morning disc jockey at a country station.
Oh, yeah. Well, she'll go back and they'll give her a job in the White House somewhere.
Some place where she can be incompetent.
Where she can be in eyesight of Trump.
Yeah.
Or should I say the man who's now sporting the Peace Award from
FIFA gave him a peace award. And it wasn't for anything that he had done except those. He reminded him, the reason you gave me this peace award is because I've ended 8 wars. I'm going to end the 9th. I just can't get Volodymyr Zelensky to read the plan that I've put together for him.
I can't end a real war.
I can't end that war or any war.
Well, he's ended a couple of wars here in the United States. It looks like he's put a dagger in the war on poverty, that's for sure. And certainly the war on disease he's ended.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, the war on prejudice and the war on, and he's created a war on rights, on civil rights. So he's definitely ended some wars.
It's a mess. Everything he touches turns into an extraordinary, tangled, hilarious, sad mess.
Yeah, it's not hilarious. I wouldn't say it's hilarious. I mean, it can be laughable at times. What happens? The pictures of him tromping around the Kennedy Center like he actually did something. Were laughable, and the signs of the KISS people and whoever else was standing there next to him for the Kennedy Center Awards. I mean,
it's always Kid Rock. If you can't figure out who's there, just invite Kid Rock. He's the guy. He's the guy you need.
Yeah, it's like there used to be this comedian Pat Cooper.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've heard of him, and
sure.
He was invited to all these events because he was just a real right-wing son of a bitch. He'd brag about hippies he beat up and all this kind of stuff. And, he got invited to all these American Legion things. And the only reason he was there is because he could say, in the 70s, I beat up some hippies.
There was another reason right there, Vinnie, of why there are no Republican stand-up comedians. It just doesn't work that way. There's no humor in them.
No. No, I never saw. Anytime I've seen a Republican attempt humor, it's been nothing but a disaster. It's a sad thing that I don't know, Mikey. It just looks like a bunch of sad people, and they're
broken.
They're not getting any better.
And they're not getting any funnier. Well, Vin, what do you say we meet on a Wednesday? It might be a brighter day.
Yeah, I think it will be a brighter day. I think that we will we'll get together and we'll be in the middle of the week. I saw I saw an interesting triumvirate of people, actually a quad of people this weekend. I'll tell you this before you go, who told me to send their regards to you. The Ackerley twins, Bill Ackerley and Keith Shipman, were all at an event that I went to. And they were all asking for you and asking how you were. And I said you were doing just fine. And they could tune in any Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning.
See for themselves.
And see for themselves how you were and how we were doing and what we were doing. And if they had a lot of cash, they could buy a radio station and put us on in the mornings. And it would feel like it was 1992 all over again.
Well, maybe they should do that.
I don't know that the Ackerleys are.
They're not in the buying mode.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know what they're doing they're doing stuff. I know that they're involved in independent film production. So maybe it's time for the Mikey and Vinnie documentary company.
I see. That's the kernel of a great idea, Vinny.
Well, I usually have a colonel, a major, and a sergeant of a great idea every morning. So, all right. Wednesday, if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise, I will catch up with you and see you. And until then, peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
It's quite a wine. Try it for yourself and see what I mean.
Take care, Michael. There he goes. There's Michael, and here I go. And thank you all for listening to our little production this morning. We appreciate it. We'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.